Hi, this is Pierre de la Côte working at Planet Technologies. So, I wanted to talk about digital transformation and especially how you onboard the exec sponsor. It's really key to have the exec sponsor leading the way. And most of the time, the exec sponsor, when you're doing a digital transformation, doesn't know first what digital transformation means, um, but it doesn't know all the details. It doesn't know, probably doesn't really know how his workforce is going to handle the change. So it's key, if it's possible, it's key to first have a set of interviews with different business owners, different users, to better understand regarding the digital transformation you want to achieve, to ask them what kind of blocker they will probably encounter, what are their needs. Even if they say, we don't know what we don't know because we don't know the technology, you can probably figure out a lot of information that are key to the digital transformation. And I will come back on how to do that kind of interview for end users. But here, let's say we had that material, so we know a little bit what is the culture, we know a little bit where is the potential, what are the blockers, and now we just want to have the buy-in from the exec sponsor, but not only the buy-in from the exec sponsor, you want other ideas, but also you want to understand what is here his or her vision for this digital transformation. So how do you lead an interview with an exec sponsor? I think it's key first to explain what is the goal of the interview. It's not a classical interview. You're not gonna ask a lot of questions on their business process, what they're doing every day. You're more interested in the strategic approach behind the digital transformation, but you will also ask a few questions about personal maturity, personal feeling, personal needs, so you can embark the exec sponsor as an individual also in the digital transformation. So the way I start the interview is to explain the goal of the interview and how it will be organized in a way. And I start with questions around strategy. What is a strategy? So first I start with the global strategy for the organization. What is the global vision or the global mission that this organization is trying to achieve? It's really key to understand what is the vision so you can try to connect the digital transformation to this vision, because if it's totally disconnected, it's going to be hard to understand why people need to make an effort to change. So first try to focus on the vision. So the question could be, how do you articulate your mission or your vision for your organization? And then you can dig into more specific questions around the digital transformation. So, for example, try to understand also what is the goal of this digital transformation from an exec sponsor point of view. It's really key to understand if it's just a technical deployment, and you will be surprised that a lot of time it's the case. Unfortunately, sometimes it's more about transforming business. Sometimes it's more about transforming the culture. Sometimes it's more about transforming behaviors. There are several levels, potential levels of digital transformation. So you need to really understand where the focus is, and even if the answer is not clear, try to dig in the answer. And because a lot of time the exec sponsor might see it as, let's say, a way to optimize business processes to better serve customers, for example. But you need to understand what is behind that, what the exec sponsor has in mind when he says that. So try to understand how you see the technology having a role in the strategic vision. How the technology, because digital transformation is about not only technology, but it's about technology. So how the technology can help, and and more precisely, so you start with a global vision, then the digital transformation vision, and then the project vision. So you have a project, specific project. So try to understand where the person, the exec sponsor, sees the impact of this project on the goals that are coming with the digital transformation. Is it impacting people? Is it impacting processes? Is it impacting technology? What is the impact in customers, employees? So try to dig into that kind of detail. And it's, there's no not really a framework with tons of questions you have to follow. You need to ask general questions, and then depending on the answer, you will find a way to rebound on the question, to ask another question, to get more details behind the ideas that the exec sponsor are going to tell you. I try, at one point, I try to come to discuss, especially if the digital transformation is connected to a cultural shift or a change of behaviors. I try to ask the exec sponsor, what are the core values that the organization has or is willing to at least use in this project, or what are their values that are matching with the project, or he thinks that, or she thinks that they're going to match with the project. I'm just going to give you a few values that I've seen echoing very well with the digital transformation, especially around a digital workplace transformation, like transparency, trust. There are two values that are really key to succeeding in digital transformation. Humility can be another one. Having an open mindset is a value that can be really important. You need to check if there is a goal to transform the way people are learning, not only about digital, because digital is, for example, digital is evolving all the time. It's perpetual evolution. So I think probably every company, every organization should have a strategy about switching from a knowing it all culture to learning it all, because you need to learn all the time, because things are evolving all the time, and the pace and velocity of the business today requires, quite frankly, to learn new things all the time, and it's more important to learn things than to know them for a long period of time, because they're always the knowledge is always disrupted by another knowledge. So the key thing here is not to know, is to learn. So try to see if this concept is echoing with the exec sponsor vision, or at least is feeling, because he might not have a vision on that, but he might have a feeling, and maybe it will open some doors to other discussion with the exec sponsor. Another value is caring about people. Maybe you can ask questions around this value to understand if there is an issue, if people are helping each other easily, or if they are staying in their own bucket, in their own silo, doing what's written on their job description and not doing anything else. So if the culture is already about caring about others, that can help. If it's not, maybe you want to have a strategy around developing this value. There are others value, like how to encourage people. Do people encourage each other? That means, especially with the management layer, is the effort recognized? If the initiative, do people who have initiatives are recognized by their managers or by their peers? Questions like that around core values will lead you to better understand first the culture, especially at the top of the company, and second, it will help you to see where there's a match or where there's a potential evolution that you can help to design. And also, you can talk about the vision, the values, what is a digital transformation, what is the project impact, but try also to better understand where your customer is standing from. What is the past experience around digital transformation? Did they have any success with the digital transformation? What are the criteria? How did they measure the success? How did they onboard people? Who did they onboard? Did they rely on department leads, on a champions team, on specific people? Why did they choose the people based on what criteria? Questions like that will help you to identify what kind of stakeholders, and maybe get some names who can support this effort, who are the people very positive about this digital transformation and who have influence inside not only their department, if they're working for a department, but also all around the organization. You might have very different stakeholders. It's not only management. It can be people who are identified as very knowledgeable and very who are a little bit wise, and a lot of people are listening to them and are following them. That's what we call usually leaders. Leaders are not always people who are in a management position, because sometimes people don't want to get the management um, burden, so they have a position without having to manage people. So try to identify the stakeholders, to see who can be supportive, and also ask the exec sponsor where he or she feels there's going to be struggle. And the struggle can come from everywhere. Quite frankly, it can come from the IT team. I've seen IT team really stressed by a digital transformation, even if they're really core to this digital transformation, because the IT team has to ramp up on the new technology that they're deploying. And if they're inherit a culture where they were seen as the expert, they should have every answer to every question regarding technology, and they now have to ramp up to learn a new technology really quickly. They might feel under stress because they don't have all the answers, because they don't have the experience of this new technology, of this new way of doing things. So it's a lot of stress on IT. At the same time, they try to help users, and so the pressure comes from them, because they know they have to learn a lot. And usually there are engineers, and engineers like to understand everything. They like to control everything. And on the other side, they have the pressure of the business, the end users, who think that it's normal, it's their job, it's the IT job to know it all. And changing this perspective in the eye of IT, accepting that they don't know it all before launching a digital transformation, is part of the digital transformation definition, I will say, is that a digital transformation is full of uncertainty. It's part of it. You experiment, so you don't know it all, but you focus on trying to find a solution and connect with people to find the right solution. The IT people need to understand that they cannot control everything. They cannot knowing it all before doing something, because then they won't do anything. Because as long as they start to learn something, it's something new to be learned. So that's a big change for them. And from the business and end user perspective, they need to understand that too, that they need to accept that their IT team don't have all the answers. And it's part of the trial and error experience. And the key thing is to commit to try to find a solution when there's a problem, or to try to find the answer when there's a question. It's not to have the answer, it's making the right effort to find the right answer. And also, the end users need to understand that a lot of things have to be learned by themselves. They need to learn and not always ask a question every time they have an issue. They need to search for the answer. There's tons of resources. The organization might provide some learning tools, but if they don't, you'll find a lot of answers. Just like if you were a consumer and you're by yourself, you try to find an answer. So why won't you do it within your organization. The big difference with the organization, even it might not be a big difference, you can ask your peers, and maybe you have champions community, you can have the champions, so you can rely on other people to find the solution too, not only search by yourself, but trying to start to search by yourself is really key. So and having this discussion with the exec sponsor, let him or her understand that the culture might shift because of this, because of the learning it all new mindset that is required to do a digital transformation. And at one point, it might make the exec sponsor think a little bit more, and it will probably ask how it can achieve that. And because when you start a digital transformation, when it's new to your organization, it's not easy to figure out what are the solutions. And it's a matter of, education, it's a matter of organization process, it's a matter of being able to measure if it's working well or not. So you can start discussing that kind of topics. And I've made a video on how to address the digital transformation concept with management. So you can use that material to discuss that, to evangelize what is digital transformation, and it takes time. You won't have all the answers during an hour of interview with the exec sponsor. You need to put some seeds in his head, so the exec sponsor starts to think about all the questions that are coming with a digital transformation. It's not just a switch that you turn on and off, just like in the IT world. It's more than that. So that's key, to plant the seed in the mind of your exec sponsor, so you can start to see what the digital transformation will potentially involve, and see where he wants to focus the most. So that's really the main part of the exec sponsor interview. And at the end, if there's some time, I try, regarding to the digital transformation you want to achieve, I try to focus on some personal individual area where the person will need where the digital transformation will have an impact on the person, on the exec sponsor as an individual. So try to dig into that. Ask questions about a working day. What is a typical working day for the person, even if it's not typical when you're an exec sponsor usually. But try to find some patterns, try to find where the person is struggling. So you can identify, or if I give you an example, exec sponsor probably are struggling a lot with emails, probably struggling a lot with meetings, probably struggling a lot with making accurate decisions. A lot of issues regarding people, data, process. So ask questions around that and try to see where the digital transformation you want to achieve gonna potentially bring some value, some benefits, and dig in the direction where you feel it will bring more value. So that way, on an individual perspective, the exec sponsor will give you insight, and if you are able in your digital transformation plan to address the pains, the individual pains, at the same time you're addressing the enterprise organization pains and bring value, then you will be in a good position, because the exec sponsor will see value for her or him directly, and it will be more ready to be involved and to storytell what he has been going through and what was positive as an individual, so he can lead the way, and he can incarnate the change, incarnate the digital transformation. So that's how I lead a digital transformation discussion and interview with an exec sponsor. Sometimes it goes in different directions depending on the person. There's no one way to do it. I just give you some insights of what I usually do, but the key thing here is to follow the interviewee where he wants to lead you in a way, even if sometimes you need to bring him back on your track because you want to find some very important information. And the goal is really to understand the vision, the global vision, how you connect the digital transformation to this vision, where are the main pain points, and try to feel how you can address them and understand where they're coming from, and find some benefits by asking questions that will be individual benefits and global benefits. That's the tip of the day. How do you lead an exec sponsor interview?